Hi, welcome back to Drafting 263 3D CAD with SolidWorks with Blue Mountain Community College. I'm going to go through the Chapter 9 activity, and we are this week going to learn about threads, and it's pretty slick. So this is, of course, I'm sure you can imagine the handiness of the ability to be able to create threads in a model. And as we move through and do some 3D printing, maybe we'll print this part and check our threads and see if they match. Eventually we will print mated internal and external, and then I think we will thread them and see if we can actually make this thing work. So let's go ahead and get started. As usual, I will put the PowerPoint slides for this chapter out in eCompanion for you. I'm going to give you my screen. And this is what we're building. I've already built it to make sure that I knew where everything was. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start over with a new part. Make sure my units are in inches. And set my black backdrop to plain white. Okay, so starting on page 9-3 is where our instructions start. And we are going to begin by selecting a front plane and inserting a new sketch. And we're going to draw that profile shown there. I'm actually going to move my book so that I don't have to keep looking over to the side so much. Okay, so we're going to use the line tool, the sketch, line, and you notice we are not actually on the origin, so I'm going to go ahead and put in a center line for reference here. And now we'll pick up our line, and we want the end of that to be vertical with the origin. So we'll just start by making that close. And it's about 3 inches long and roughly 3/4 of an inch tall. And now we're not going to worry too much about dimensions. We'll put those in to define the sketch. We're just going to put this in, and we're going to avoid all those dotted lines that come up and try to give us automatic relations. We don't want those, except for that one. Now we'll just say okay. All right, now let's go ahead and put in some dimensions. Notice that these are ordinate dimensions. There's a couple of different ways we can do this. I'm just going to do it with distance from that center line. You can also go into your Smart Dimension command and tell it that you want to put in ordinate dimensions. I'm just going to real quickly put these in here. See if that works, and it does. Excellent. Okay, now this guy is a total of 3 inches long. That one is 1.550. 1.3 to this one. And 0.3 to him. Okay, now let's put a relation between this point and the origin. They are vertical. And this one, that line, and that line are collinear. And that fully defined my sketch. So now I am ready to revolve this sketch about my center line. You can see SolidWorks makes its best guess as to what you're going to want to do. This is appropriate. It's a good guess. So we'll click OK. Check all your settings. Make sure it's what you want it to be. Those are given on the bottom of 9.3. Okay, now we are going to create a sweep path for my threads. And we're actually going to work down here on this end, so I'm going to turn this guy around. And what we're going to do is we're going to select this end face there, and we're going to put in a new sketch. And that sketch is actually going to be based on this edge, and that's okay. We're just going to go down here, we're going to click on that edge, go into our sketch page, and we are going to convert that into a circle on our sketch plane. Now, we're going to actually put in a helix, and your textbook says to switch to the Features Tool tab and select Helix. I went up here into my menu and went to Insert, I went to Tools. Okay, I just did this. Click on Features. Now go up in here into Insert, Tools, oh, Insert, there it is. It's under Insert, Curve, Helix. Sorry about the fumbling. This is one of those places where it may or may not be exactly what the text says, but it's Insert, Curve, Helix. Click, and you can see that SolidWorks puts a helix in. Now, yours may not look exactly like this. Check your settings over here. You want your pitch to be 0.125 inches. You want to reverse the direction. If you don't reverse the direction, it tries to go off into thin air. So we want to reverse that. We want 11 revolutions, and you want it to start at 0 degrees. And we want clockwise threads. Okay. Make sure your settings look like that, and click OK. And what it does is it just draws on there the sweep path. So we have drawn the path that our profile is going to follow. Now what we need to do is draw the profile. And we're going to do that on the top plane. And we're actually going to need to be down here near this endpoint. So what we're going to do is I'm going to look normal to that thing, but I really want it. All right, that'll work. And I'm going to zoom in here because we want to be able to get to that endpoint. But now what we're going to do is we're just going to draw a little triangle. So we need a new sketch on the top plane. And on page 9-5 is the picture of the triangle we're going to draw. And what we're doing is I'm just going to go over here on the edge away from that sweep path and make my triangle. So I'm making a horizontal line, and I'm going to make a line that is vertical to that center point, and I'm going to close out my triangle. And before I forget, I do want a center line here, so I'm going to go from here up to this point with my center line. And I want to set some dimensions. My triangle is going to be 0.1 inches tall with an angle of 60 degrees. And now what we need to do is we need to tell it that this line and that line are symmetrical about that center line. So we'll add that relation. And I don't want that sharp point. I want to chamfer that, so I'm going to select these, or sorry, I'm going to fill it. I'm going to select the sketch fillet, pick that top vertex, and I want my fillet radius to be 0.01 inches. So I'll have to do that again because I neglected to set my radius first. So now hit OK, and you can see we've got our little triangle. It's not yet fully defined because I have not placed it appropriately. Now to place it, what we're going to do is we're going to select this endpoint and the center line, or the base of that center line down there, and we are going to add a relation between those two. Okay, we're going to add a relation. The endpoint of my helix and my center line. And what I want to do is I want to pierce. And that will fully define our sketch. And I've got my relations turned on. I'm going to go ahead and hide those so that things get a little cleaner. Okay, my sketch is fully defined. And I'm going to exit now my sketch. I'm going to go back to the Features tab, and what I'm going to do is we're actually going to do a sweep cut. Well, this is unique. Exit my sketch. There, now I'm going to do a swept cut. And you should select your triangle, which for me is sketch 3, as the profile, and the path now is the helix spiral. And if we zoom out, you can see that we're going to sweep that triangle along that helix that we drew in there, and that gives me my threads. And we've got half of our part done. We're going to use the mirror bodies option in order to do the rest of it. So click up here on mirror. Click on this end face as the mirror face or plane. Now we are going to, under the features to mirror, we're going to mirror that revolve shape and the sweep cut. So you actually want the sweep cut also to be mirrored. You want the whole thing. That got it all. And now when you click OK, we have our part. That didn't take very long. We just need to now add some chamfers and some cleanup. So let's go ahead and chamfer those ends. We're going to use a 0.05 inch chamfer at a 45-degree angle, and we're going to chamfer that end, this edge, this one, and that one. Say OK. And now let's go ahead and save it. Okay. There it is. I'm going to save this as drafting 263 Chapter 9. All right. Go ahead and do the assigned activities for the Chapter 9 video. You've got some, I think, internal threads to model. And I will see you again soon.